Hello students, welcome to Kavish IAS and WBCS, Converting Possibilities into Reality. I'm your anthropology mentor and I welcome you all to the journey of our anthropology optional for IAS and WBCS only on the YouTube channel of Kavish IAS and WBCS. In the last video, we have discussed about some of the common or overlapping topics for both IAS and WBCS anthropology optional subject. In this video, we are going to have a detailed overview about the remaining part of the topic which are common for both IAS and WBCS anthropology optional. Let me remind you, we are discussing about the only previous video the remnant topics, that is the non-overlapping or the topics which are not common for IAS and WBCS. Those topics will definitely be discussed quite soon in some of the upcoming videos. So let's start. In the last video, we have discussed till human nutrition and the concept of health and diseases. Moving to the next topic, which is human adaptation. Here we have to have a very detailed discussion about Bergman and Allen's rule. So what we have to study in human adaptation is how human beings evolved themselves and adjusted themselves in hot, cold and high altitude climatic condition. That is mainly here we are having an idea about the adaptation or adaptability power of human being and how they evolved and adapted themselves with these climatic conditions. Now let me give you a very minute idea, an example. You will see people residing in cold areas, especially in hilly areas, they have short stature or short height compared to people living in warm or mild area or temperate area. Now what is the reason behind this? Don't worry, if I tell everything today in this video, then it won't be an overview of the syllabus, it will be a detailed discussion. Don't worry, these detailed minor discussions are coming very soon. Now basically in human adaptation module, we actually study about this part, how these human beings evolved and changed their different pattern, behavior, body parts as well. What exact changes they needed to undergo for having an extreme adaptability power inside themselves firstly, and secondly, why everyone could not actually adapt. Why also definitely we will have an idea why certain species became extinct. It's not that every species evolved. So all these things we are going to study under human adaptation. Now slowly we are moving to the archaeological and cultural part of anthropology. Here we have the cultural evolution, under which we have the concept of dating. Don't think it's Tinder dating. No, this is not Tinder dating. Dating is a process which is extensively used for exploration and excavation. That is mainly for collecting data related to archaeology and some part of archaeological anthropology. Now, we have two types of dating process. Absolute dating, C14 and Kr, that is potassium, and relative dating, under which we need to know about two processes, that is dendrochronology and stratigraphy. Now you will tell me, so why do I need to know even all this? Just because these are certain techniques of exploration and excavation which helps us to gain ideas and knowledges about fossilary evidences majorly. Apart from fossils, there are other evidences as well about which we are going to study quite soon. So basically, for finding out evidences, for tracing evidences, and not only the evidence but tracing back the timeline. For tracing back the timeline of the evidences, we follow this process, especially dating process, along with some other process as well, which are mainly used in exploration. Let me write down for you people. And excavation. Okay. And next we have features and distribution of prehistoric cultures with reference to India and Europe. Now let me tell you one thing. You will see this especially for WBCS syllabus. Whatever we are studying in paper 1, we will study almost 20 to 30% of paper 1's part in the Indian context in paper 2. Let me clear out once more for you people. Whatever we are studying in paper 1, 20 to 30, that all those parts are coming from a global context, global general context, general approach. 20 to 30% of that part, of that global part, we will study in an Indian context in the paper 2. So here is the trick. If you study paper 1 quite well, if you make the concept of paper 1 absolutely clear, paper 2 will not actually take much time, because paper 1 is the base of concept for both IAS and WBCS Optional. And especially for WBCS, I'm saying paper 2 is nothing but the Indian context of some of the topics of paper 1. So basically, it is helping you a lot to save your time. That is, कम टाइम में आप ज़्यादा पढ़ सकते हो एंड कम टाइम में कम पढ़कर एक ही कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर करके आप दोनों पेपर को एक ही टाइम पर ज़्यादा कवर कर सकते हो. है ना बहुत शानदार एंड इजी? आई नो दिस इज. Anyways, coming back to our topic. So here we have the features and distribution of prehistoric cultures with reference to India and Europe, under which we have these 5 major ages: Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, Chalcolithic and Iron Age. Now we will have a detailed discussion about all these ages in some of the coming videos. Now coming to the next core cultural anthropological part, that is culture and civilization, under which we are studying cultural relativism. It is very important for us to get aware of another word named ethnocentrism. Now what is ethnocentrism? The concept of ethnocentrism is basically when you are judging or when you are putting your opinion towards someone or for someone by standing on your own shoes or by putting yourself on your place. And cultural relativism is when you are judging someone or putting your opinion towards that person from his or her point of view. So basically, we should not be ethnocentric. We should definitely follow cultural relativism. Repeating it once more for you people. Cultural relativism is when you are judging someone from his or her point of view. And ethnocentrism is basically when you are judging or putting your opinion or showing your opinion towards someone from your point of view. So here we actually have a detailed discussion about how cultural relativism plays a huge role in culture and civilization, and how much important it is, how much cultural relativism practice, how much important it is for the establishment of a proper civilization. So that is what we are going to have a detailed discussion on this module. Moving to the next topic. It's a very attractive and interesting topic, I know, right? That is elements of social organization, under which we have family, marriage and kinship. Now here we actually study the different forms of marriage, types of marriage, how marriage evolved, most importantly, why do we need to marry? है ना? क्यों शादी करनी चाहिए हम लोगों को? So why do we need to marry? How much fruitful marriage is? Types of marriage, marriage का rituals क्या है? Marriage के बाद क्या होगा? All these parts we are going to study under the social organization, elements of social organization part, that is the social anthropological part. So marriage तो हो गया, इसका मतलब फैमिली हो गया, परिवार बढ़ रहा है तो फैमिली भी पढ़ना चाहिए हम लोगों को. So then comes family. Definition, types, functions and recent changes in family. That is family structure change. Joint family से nuclear family हो रहा है, broken family हो रहा है. How many types of family we can find in tribal society, recent society, ancient society? All these things we are going to study. And then we have the kinship. Kinship part is also quite important, especially the kin terms. It's very interesting, I assure you people. One of the most attractive part of the syllabus of both Anthro Optional of WBCS and UPSC. Now, moving to the next topic, that is economic anthropology. अब देखो, शादी हो गया, family हो गया, बच्चा हो गया, अब we have to have a good life also ना, सिर्फ शादी करने से तो काम नहीं चलेगा. Now we need to think how we have to run our family also, right? So for that we need to have an idea about the economic anthropology. तो देखो, इस सब्जेक्ट से ना ही तुम सिर्फ अपना ऑप्शनल पेपर पढ़ रहे हो, ना ही यू आर क्वालिफाइंग यूपीएससी एंड डब्ल्यूबीसीएस, बट ऑल्सो यू आर गेटिंग practical idea about your own life also. So है ना this subject काफी interesting? I feel so at least. So in economic anthropology we study how and the ways of subsistence and living. How people of ancient society or ancient days used to live their life. Now the word live their life doesn't mean when they woke up, when they went for bath, no. The major ways of subsistence: hunting, gathering, pastoralism, agriculture, horticulture, settled agriculture, civilization. That is how they started settling. When they started settling, why do they need to settle down? How civilization came. All these parts come under economic anthropology. Next we have production, distribution, reciprocity, market exchange, redistribution, consumption, gift and also exchange. So these two parts are basically for the social anthropological part majorly, which is very much required for human to have to prevail a quite good social relationship with their neighbors or relatives. Matlab, you have to have certain rules, you have to undergo certain practices to have a very good relationship prevailing between you and your neighbor or parents or friends. So for that, the people of the ancient society also underwent such practices, among which some of the practices we need to study, which definitely help them in their daily life living also, in their subsistence also. So that's what we are going to study in this module. Next we have the political anthropological part. काफ़ी क्यूट पिक्चर्स हम देख सकते हैं, काफ़ी क्यूट सारे ट्राइबल किड्स का पिक्चर्स है यहाँ पे, एंड आई फाइंड दिस क्वाइट क्यूट. Here we will be studying about the concept of band, tribe, chiefdom and state, how tribal concept came, how it evolved, different forms of tribe, types of tribe, their distribution all over. All these parts are going to be studied in details in political anthropology. Next, coming to another most attractive and interesting part of the Anthropology Optional syllabus of UPSC and WBCS, that is Anthropology of Religion. Harry Potter lovers, please listen to this part quite effectively, and I'm assuring you people, you guys will be loving this because you guys can definitely relate this to Harry Potter. And Harry Potter lovers, please keep on following Kavish IAS and WBCS for such amazing topics which we are going to discuss vividly and in minute detailed way. Alright, here we are going to study about the approaches to the study of religion, their intellectual, psychological, functional and interpretative approach. So basically, anthropology of religion deals with the thought process of human beings. The entire thought process, that is, if you believe, it will exist. If you don't believe, it won't. Just like God concept, if you believe, then God is there is existence of God. If you don't believe, then there is no more existence of God for you at least. So this thought and belief process of human beings are basically studied in anthropology of religion, where intellectual, psychological, functional and interpretative approach of human beings have been studied. Next two important topics and very attracting part, that is the concept of myth, mythology, magic, black magic and white magic, witchcraft and sorcery. I hope you guys can actually remember about Harry Potter's taboo, totem, divination, rituals, symbolism in religion. And here we have religious specialist, shaman, witch doctor and priest. All these parts are definitely related to the thought process of religions, religious concept of human, along with religious practice. So this part is going to be again a very interesting part, and I am sure you guys will be loving it, and you guys will be studying this out of your own interest actually. So here we will be studying the taboo concept, the black thought concept, the negative thought and the positive thought concept of human beings, and how the thought processes changed in due course of time. Next moving to the basic methods of data collection and interpretation. So this is basically a core practical module which is related to data collection. That is the fieldwork related module, where we will be following four major approaches: qualitative and quantitative approach for two types of studies, ethnographic study and fieldwork type of study, which are definitely nothing but research works. And next we have some basic methods or techniques of data collection. How you can collect data. For that you will be undergoing certain procedures, certain techniques. Few of them have been mentioned here, like we'll be following observation technique, interview, case study, schedule, questionnaire, genealogy, PRA and RRA. All these things will be discussed in details. Again, I'm telling you in some of the upcoming videos, so don't worry, please don't think it is only this much. It will be coming very very soon. Moving to the next part, that is paper 2. So that's all about paper 1. Moving to paper 2, that is another 250 marks for UPSC and separate 200 marks for WBCS. So basically, while I go through this slides, while I go through this syllabus, you guys will be having a clear idea how we are actually having a detailed discussion about the only Indian context of some of the previous discussed topics. Firstly, we have the evolution of Indian culture and civilization. So how civilization and Indian civilization evolved. We have again the same ages. See, we already discussed in some of the previous slides: Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic and Chalcolithic Iron Age. Next we have Indus Valley civilization. Harappan civilization we have only for UPSC, not for WBCS, so it is not mentioned here. And contribution of tribal cultures to Indian civilization, that is, in the evolution of Indian civilization, how much role did the tribal culture played? That is the role of the tribal people. So all these things we are going to study in this module. Next we have the emergence of man in India and contemporary variation. People thinking that this is their mirror image, congratulations. Well, this is not that pretty, must be, but actually it is quite pretty. So this is basically a fossil remain of Ramapithecus, which is another primate, a form of primate. So only two type of primate fossil remain we have in this module, Ramapithecus and non-modern man, in the overview or from the Indian context only. Moving to the next topic, that is anthropological approaches to Indian civilizations. Here we have cultural categories of ancient India: Varnashram, Purushartha, Karma and Rebirth. That is how society was actually categorized, how society was segregated used to receive discrimination depending on certain cultural practices, cultural categorical practices, like varnashram, purushartha, karma and rivat. In one word you can say discrimination or division of class and caste. All those parts we are going to study here. Next we have the caste system. How caste system originated. Caste system is one of the major issues that people are suffering through even now. So how this caste system originated, features of caste system, changes, what changes actually occurred, dominant caste and judgmani system. Next we have tribe caste continuum, which is actually in one line I can tell you, when certain tribal people were forced to change their caste and religion, especially caste. So definitely it led to huge revolt. Then because why will suddenly a group or community or a member will change his or her own religion or caste or his or her own identity? So this resulted in a huge revolt in the history of Indian era, you can see. So all those parts we are studying here. And next we have the impact of Buddhism, Jainism, Islam and Christianity on Indian society. For UPSC we have separate context of impact of Buddhism, Jainism, Islam and Christianity on both Indian society and separately tribal society. But for WBCS we have only Indian society. So that's all we are studying under this module. Next we have the tribal situation in India. Here we will be studying about the economic and linguistic distribution of Indian tribes, that is the tribes which are being distributed throughout India, their economic stature, economic condition, linguistic, that is a language they speak and communicate in, all those parts. Next we have the plans and programs for the development of the STs, that is the scheduled tribes, problems or critique of tribal development, 5-year plan and Indian tribes. Basically, here we are going to have a clear idea about the various problems that the scheduled tribes faced in due course of time, what critical situation they went through, and did they at all get any help, that we are going to read here. Next we have the constitutional safeguards for the STs, especially these two are quite important, 5th and 6th schedules. So basically for the problems that the tribal people started facing, it kept on continuing, and keeping this in a global outlook, government and constitution in due course of time undertook certain safeguards. So we are going to study about those safeguards which were actually taken for the benefit of the tribal people. But the most amazing part is, did the tribal people at all get any benefit at that time? So we are going to have an idea about that. Next we have the socio-economic changes in the tribal milieu, impact of urbanization, industrialization, forest policy, development projects on tribal people, changes in tribal society in colonial and post-independent periods, and impact of modern democratic institutions in traditional political system. In one line, as Indian civilization went on evolving day by day, this tribal community started getting deprivated, started getting humiliating more and more. What will happen to them? This was a huge question. What will happen to their future? Firstly, and secondly, as Indian civilization kept on evolving, certain changes, especially urbanization, industrialization, forest policy, development projects, all these things played a huge impact on the life of the tribal people. So what impacts were created? How the tribal people reacted to it? Did they actually accept it or did they revolt? What actually happened? So it is basically related to history, historical part. So students having history in class 11 and 12 will be very much benefited, history and sociology. So basically this is a huge benefit for students from humanities. So see, not only from art section or science section, you guys will be definitely getting benefited from commerce section also, especially in UPSC syllabus when I'll be discussing. So don't worry. So students from all the courses will get individual benefits while you study Anthro optional. And next we have regionalism. So basically regionalism is a political ideology that focuses on the interest of a particular region or a group of regions or other subnational entity. So basically, when a tribal community is residing in an area and government or any other community who definitely has a lot of power and strength is having certain political interest which is getting violated due to that tribal community or the residents of that tribal community, on that scenario certain violence come up on this tribal community. So those parts we will be studying under regionalism. Basically it is related to the exact geographical area on which this political interest grow on, and from there minutely how much affected this tribal people used to get and what solutions were made. So those parts we are going to study under tribal situation in India. And next and last and not the least, we have the anthropology of development, that is role of NGO in development. It's quite easy and definitely informative and a bit theoretical, that is how much and how to which extent the NGOs played a role in developing Indian society, and role of anthropology in development, that is how much role or what role exactly anthropology played in due course of time for developing Indian, or rather better to say human society. So that's all for this video. I hope I could make anthropology a bit more easier for you people. Here in this video we have discussed in detailed overview pattern about all the remaining part of the overlapping topics of anthropology optional syllabus for WBCS and UPSC. I hope it was quite helpful for you people. See you soon in some of the upcoming videos, and thank you.